Hi, poets. Finally, I'm back with your last minute revision tips. And I'm sorry I haven't posted this sooner. I've not been feeling well, but everything's good. I'm fine. I don't have any viruses, I hope, that I know about. So let's get started on some ideas for your portfolios. Um, Now, if you were a senior, the actual I posted the assignment sheet for May to be the assignment to be due on May 1st at 11:59. Well, if you're a senior, as you might know, I have to have your grades in by 5 p.m. on Friday, which is tomorrow. So I'm going to need you to turn it in by 4 o'clock at the latest. Many of you seniors have already turned your portfolios in, so that's great. But it may be that after you've heard my fabulous tips that I'm about to dispense, you'll have some other ideas. So feel free to revise and repost because I've allowed multiple submissions on that post as long as everything is in by 4. Now, if you are not a senior, I'm happy to give you an extension until Monday, May 4th. Now, sometimes extensions can be the kiss of death. My daughter was just telling me, Mom, oh God, when my teachers give me an extension, it's just really not good for me because I will just wait till the last minute. I need a specific deadline. And that was how I was too. But I'm going to give it to you anyway because maybe you're not like us. So take that time to really make it good. Okay, so here are my tips. So as you go through your poems, think about first eliminating words that aren't working hard enough. Okay. And by that, I mean, don't just put in words because they fill out the rhythm or because they're going to make the rhyme work. um, you, you just put in every single word should be there for a reason. Um, Poetry is about condensation. And by that, I mean, you're condensing an idea because it tends to be shorter than prose, of course. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a long poem. I love me a long poem, but um, don't put a lot of words in there that don't need to be there. Really try and make each word mean something. It's a tough practice. It's a discipline. All right, so eliminate words that aren't working hard enough. 2, and this is a weird tip, read your poem backwards. Now, I don't mean go to the end of the last line and read like that. That wouldn't make any sense. Go to the last line of the poem and start at the beginning of the line and read to the end. The idea behind that is that it helps you look at each line separately because you don't get caught up in the rhythm or the progression of the action or the description that the poem is trying to get across. So it really lets you be a little bit more critical of each line. So read your lines backwards. That's number 2. Number 3, read your poems out loud. You've heard me suggest this before. Poems are written for the eye and for the ear. They have much to do with music. A lot of the terms we use are musical terms. So read your poem out loud into your phone or your computer or your just voice recorder on your phone, and then play it back and listen carefully. Okay. You might really be amazed at the wonderful sound choices that you made, with multiple sounds of the same type coming and just sort of creating a rhythm of sound. And you might find places that don't really work, where the rhythm is off, and it doesn't mean it has to be a metered poem, but where the rhythm is just not working or certain words don't sound right. If there's someone in your family or a close friend you want it to read it to, that's great too. Or maybe not a close friend, anybody. But it does also help for you to be able to, as you're revising, to listen to it back and see hear where the issues are. All right. Um, you know about me and abstractions, don't you? I always make comments about abstractions because they don't tell a specific story. They should tell a generic story. And a poem should be about showing the reader something, okay? Instead of telling the reader what's about. So with other words, instead of saying, this experience was painful to me, okay? Painful, that's an abstraction. What did it feel like specifically to you, okay? So underline or highlight all the abstractions you find: love, fear, pain, joy, excitement, love, hate. Those are all abstractions. Okay, how do they feel? How do they look? How do they smell? Now, once you get really excited about telling details or filling in details, you sometimes can go overboard, especially if you're writing about something that happened to you. You might be inclined to put in every little detail, like exactly the pattern on the person's dress or the color of the rug in the room. You might be able to see that in your mind's eye, but is it critical to the poem? Now, maybe what the person was wearing tells you something about their personality, and if so, go for it. But you're trying to, with your words, create a snapshot more than a long, involved, intricate landscape. Okay? So again, condensation, boil it down to a few details that really tell the story, that really create a personality, that really explain exactly how the speaker feels. All right? Telling detail. Okay. Those are actually all my tips. I mean, gosh, if you can do those things right, that's enough. That's hard enough. Figuring out what's telling detail and what's just fluff, that's hard. I mean, how are you supposed to know? It all seems important, especially if it's something that happened to you. So now, if you have any other questions for me, email me, or if you want to talk on the phone, FaceTime, feel free to do that. I had just one person who took that option, and that's great. That means that the rest of you are great on your own. That's fine. But if you want to talk, I'm here. I'll be grading. So give me a ring and I'll try and help you work it out. So, and think about just sort of a final word on the purpose of the portfolios. First of all, it gives you a chance to really show what you've learned in the class, and gives you a chance to sort of incorporate the comments I might have made on your final draft that then I gave you a grade and that it's all done. Well, it's not all done in this class. You can revise and make it better, and after you've given it some thought. You might be able to take some of those poems and submit them to magazines for publication, online magazines or print, whatever. Please do that. Some magazines will have contests and stuff like that, and they make you pay. Try and send it to a magazine that's not making you pay. Usually it's for a contest, but I don't know. Just there are lots of magazines that will that publish writers that haven't been published before. You can look in Poets and Writers magazine. I think it's pnw.org, or just type in Poets and Writers magazine, and it's got all kinds of markets for poetry. So do that. Also, it's a nice record for you to go back and look at a year from now, 10 years from now, and say, wow, I really captured that feeling. I really captured that scene. That brings me back to a place that it's interesting where I was at that time. Or, a lot of poems are not autobiographical. I just really said what I had to say. It's great to have that record of your writing and of your life and of your ideas to look back on. So even if it's only if you're not going to send it out into the world, it's nice to have that personal record and maybe, to show your family later on. So treasure those portfolios. And I really am looking forward to reading them. I've seen those of you who've sent me your notes about how you want to revise your portfolio um, are really looking at your poems from quite a sophisticated perspective. I'm really pleased with that. And again, as I said at the top of this video, if you've already turned in your portfolio because you're wanting to get it out of the way, and I totally respect that, but you want to do a little bit more work on it, if you're a senior, just make sure it's in by 4:00 on Friday, May 1st, tomorrow. And if you are not graduating this semester, you have until 11:59 on May 4th, which is Monday. Okay, it's hard to remember what day we're in right now these days, isn't it? All right, guys, be well, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Bye.